If I reach this particular level, then I'm going to be considered, I've made it in my profession, where uh, coaching's coaching.
Episode 100 featured Coach Peter Sirmon, the defensive coordinator at Cal Berkeley. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
Coach Sirmon is the defensive coordinator over at Cal Berkeley, where he's been there for going on 7 seasons this upcoming year. So to get things started, Coach, can you just share with the audience about your background and how you've ultimately gotten involved in your current role?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the college coaching future, when I was younger, was never really a part of what I thought I was going to do. I was more about being as a player. So I grew up in Walla Walla, Washington. I was the youngest of 4 boys. Really everybody in the family was pretty athletic, a lot of football, a lot of traveling on Saturdays to support my brothers who were playing college football kind of all around the Pacific Northwest. Then went on and played collegiately at University of Oregon, and then had a wonderful experience there, and then had the opportunity to go on. Was drafted by the Titans in 2000 and played 7 years, 7 seasons there. And then after I was done, I was right around, I think right near my 30th birthday is when I decided that I was going to retire. I had finished my second contract with the Titans, and I kind of find myself in a situation that I felt really good about my health. I continued to, I wanted to work. I never had any ideas or any fantasies of playing long enough in the NFL to what I would refer to as to have to retire or get to retire from life. That was something that never really interested me. So I ended up kind of pulling the trigger and retiring there after year 7, and then dabbled in residential real estate, Justin. So it might have been 6 weeks after I finished the season, I found myself downhill, down by Green Hills in Nashville, Tennessee, going through getting my real estate license. And for some of the viewers, you'd remember 2008 was probably not the best time, 2007, 2008, of getting yourself in the real estate world of what was going on in that particular time. So really enjoyed it. I think I learned a lot about myself, but what I found is I still had some passion for football. And so what I did was I attempted to reach out to a lot of the contacts I had in college. And what I really found, Justin, was not anything that I didn't expect, but I found the barrier to entry a little bit greater than I had anticipated. Sometimes you think if you have done something, you can do something. I've played football, therefore I can coach it. And what you find is, I think a lot of guys, that's a fun accessory or a fun thing to put on your resume, or maybe when you introduce yourself to a player. But there's so much more to the coaching aspect than just have played football. And I ended up using one of the really relationships that I had actually from growing up in Walla Walla, Washington. A guy that I lived down the street from, Blaine Bennett, and his family. He was the head coach at Central Washington University, which is a Division II school. And he had an opportunity for me to volunteer coach and coach the inside linebackers, and I took it. And really kind of from there, the path kind of took its own way. And I was at Central Washington for a season, and then I had the opportunity to go back to University of Oregon. It was a defensive GA there with Chip Kelly's first year. Nick Aliotti was the defensive coordinator. And then I jumped over to University of Tennessee. A college teammate of mine, Justin Wilcox, got a defensive coordinator job at UTK. So I jumped over there and was a defensive GA, coached the safeties there for a season. And then Derek Dooley hired me on as inside linebacker coach. And then from there, Washington, USC, Mississippi State, Louisville, and now in my current role at Cal. So that's a long answer to a really easy question.
So going back to your playing days, Coach, you spoke about how playing is very different than coaching. And obviously, having played at the highest level for 7 seasons, Can you talk about what some of those differences are between playing in the NFL, but also having the opportunity to coach at the highest level of college football?
Yeah, as a player, it's so individual centric. The reference to the team and understanding the value of the team is of utmost importance. However, preparation, attitude, performance. Very, very few people have the opportunity or the skill to impact others in that space. Now, you might be a loud personality or a leader in the locker room. However, once you start dealing with 23, 30-year-old men, a lot of that is going to be individually based on the performance, the attitude, how they take care of themselves, the preparation, all those other factors. So it's really, it's more about the individual contractor. You hear that a lot, in the locker room in the NFL when I was playing. We're a group of individual contractors needing to do a job, but services are a little bit available to the highest bidder. Where in the coaching role, the game is just you just view the game so much differently in terms of preparation, how you talk to your players, how you have to identify different ways of impact and or connecting with each of your players. Which, as a player, I never had to look through that lens.
When you're coaching, and maybe going back to when you first got started off in the profession, can you talk about some of the things that you might have wanted to do differently, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, there's some things that I think could have been I could have potentially used I had some mentors, but I probably didn't lean on them as much as I could have. And part is my own personality because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And sometimes, as I've learned about myself, I do seek counsel from others. But when my mind's made up, what I ended up doing is seeking counsel and doing what I was going to do anyway. So maybe I didn't use the resources that I had, but I think we're all a little bullheaded or a little bit we see our path, and I think sometimes that's our greatest strength, and at times that's a weakness. But I think the only thing that I would really reflect on from my journey, because I did have a couple spots that were extremely positive, a couple spots that I learned a lot from, is probably the same thing I talk to kids when I recruit them, is you got to find your fit. And sometimes that's hard, especially as a young person, because sometimes your aspirations are so big that you are searching maybe for a particular level, but don't quite understand what the fit means to the overall experience. And I would say the same thing for coaches. There's such an aspiration of getting to D1 or Power Five, and all these little terms that you throw out as if they're moments for achievement, or if I reach this particular level, then I'm going to be considered I've made it in my profession. Where uh, you know coaching's coaching. Now, sometimes there's more people in the stadium or less people in the stadium, or more people on at the alumni or the signing day party. But I would go back to my first year of Central Washington Division II, that I really had my most enjoyable coaching season. I think of all the 17 years I've had. It was a great group of young men. I really fit with what the coaches were doing, and I really enjoyed that particular year at the Division II level.
And expanding upon what you just said there, I played at a Division III school, Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania, and a lot of my coaches and some of the advice that I've heard from people on the podcast, I've done over 100 episodes at this point, is that there's good coaches at every level. And just because a coach might be at the highest level doesn't necessarily mean that they're a better coach. It's really just a matter of, like what we were talking about, just doing a good job where you're currently at. And then going back to what you had mentioned a little bit earlier, and I just wanted to expand upon that. You talked about using the resources around you. So, can you talk about what you think some of like the younger coaches out there could be doing to put them in a better chance to succeed for the future?
Yeah, I think the first thing as a coach to understand, and I want to, before we go to that part, I want to go back even further. I think the humility as a coach, it doesn't matter the logo we have on your jersey. Now, a lot of people walk taller with certain logos on their jerseys, and a lot of people walk taller when you come into a high school or come into a clinic and you have a certain logo on your jersey. Those logos, in my opinion, couldn't be a bigger wad of crap. Um, Everybody gets to where they're getting to different ways, but I want to make sure is don't don't apply your professional value to the logo that you're currently wearing. Um, There's innovative people everywhere. There's guys at high school, NAI, D3, D2 at all certain levels. And they're guys at the highest level that probably couldn't coach themselves out of a paper bag. So, sometimes we get, where we're placed or, who was in our corner at that moment that maybe gave us that opportunity. And then it becomes self-fulfilling, because once you get to a certain level, you kind of get churned through that level, even if it's not merit-based any longer. So, you see guys trying to, I just need a shot. I just need a shot. I just need a shot. And I get it. And I understand it. But what I would really implore coaches that aren't necessarily where they think they want to be, is still believe in how you're coaching it and know that the quality of your coaching is, in my opinion, no, not indicative of maybe where you're at. But in terms of the resources, I'm probably not a great person to tell you, how to use your resources. There's a lot of guys that, you see them in pregame and they do a fantastic job of building relationships and connecting with their network. I am might be the worst network guy in college football. Just on game days, I'm not a coach's clinic guy, and I kind of know who I know maybe before I kind of got to where I'm at now, and I was an acquaintance or a friend with them prior to that, or had some things that were ties, back when I was playing or when I was going to school at Oregon or something like that. But I think it really is a relationship business, and if you can build meaningful, not superficial. You send somebody a mass text on Thanksgiving with a turkey goblin and expect that to be a relationship, but meaningful relationships with guys, and try to find time, maybe you're on the road or off season, to Zoom or kind of catch up.
Yeah. No, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. And it's at the end of the day, every coach that I've talked to on this podcast, and like I said, this is over 100 episodes, always go back to the relationships. And like you were saying, you can't just make it a superficial, non-meaningful relationship. So definitely appreciate you sharing that, coach. And as we're starting to wrap up, any last words you would want to share with the audience today?
No, I would just probably say, if anything, Justin, is really value your opportunity with how you're going to impact whoever you're coaching. And then we get inundated with the business side of it, from ESPN to the monetization to NIL to all the things that are right now in a little bit of chaos. But understand the impact that we have on people, and that's and I'm probably talking to myself as much as anybody, because there are significant times where you get a little bit frustrated with maybe the direction of what the business is. But I think you got to understand that the people still need help. I think our kids and the people we coach are in. There's some decay in people that are leading young people in our world right now. And if
Yeah.
you can be a light, if you can be somebody that can maybe teach a lesson, and not always going to be perfect, and not every day is going to be Mr. Rogers, and you're going to go through life lessons, and because the kids still need to stop inside zone. So let's be realistic with it, but be somebody that when they reflect back on you, that they were a strong, impactful person in their life.